Motion made by Member Fletcher, seconded by Mr. Abel. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to a vote. Motion passes 6-0. And now entertain a motion for item number 4.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that the regular meeting minutes from the City Council meeting June 8th, 2026 be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Fletcher, seconded by Ms. Hoheimer. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to a vote. Motion passes 6-0. We are now at the public input portion of our meeting tonight. I would like to remind you, you get 5 minutes. Please come up. Make sure your mic is turned on. We like hearing your names if you're so willing to share. And I am not supposed to comment back up here, so if you ask something that sounds like a question and we don't respond, it's not that we're ignoring you. I'm trying to stick to the proper protocol. So please come up and have your voices be heard.
Good evening. My name is Rex Pojoli. I've addressed you all before. We've had a lovely spring rain. It's great for everyone to finally get a little bit of water. The only issue is when this happens, my property is in danger. I've asked for this for 25 years. I've been here again this time, a couple of times asking to this, and I have some information allegedly from the engineer again on some kind of solution to this issue. I see no reason in the world why this can't be addressed. It's a pretty simple project. It just needs to be funded by the council and addressed properly by engineering. This is a property that's a nice property in the area, and it's being inundated and damaged by the flooding from city streets, as well as an adjoining creek drainage ditch that's used by the city and everybody else in the world. The problem with that drainage ditch is it's not been maintained at all. And now I have 2 blockages in that drainage ditch, which blocks water up and throws it on my property. The property in question has crawl space. It's about 25 feet from the said drainage ditch. When it gets wet, it floods my crawl space. This stays wet for quite a while. And I've had problems with this structurally over the years, as you know, water is not good for anything. So once again, I'm asking for the city to please come and take a look at this issue. It's not just an issue of the city street and the city drainage on my property. It's also the lack of maintenance on an absolutely required area that the city should maintain. This is a drainage ditch that's been there for long before the city was there. And it's been added to and added to and added to the point where it no longer functions well when it's flooded. Very shortly, away from my property, the next property over, owned by Lehman Property Management, there is considerable improvement to this drainage ditch. There's concrete pillow blocking all the way through that section of the property. From my property on all the way to Veerman, there is no improvement whatsoever, and it is overgrown and dangerous. I'm going to ask again for some assistance into this problem. And I'd like to meet with the city manager on site and discuss not just the city's part, their drainage on my property, but also the other issues that are presented here. So thank you for listening. Please have someone contact me. I'm kind of tired of waiting. I've been waiting for years and years and years and years. And I don't know how much longer I can wait until I just hire somebody to do it and figure out how to recover the money from y'all, because it's your responsibility, ultimately. There's no question whatsoever. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dawsey, will you follow up with that, please?
I believe I'll double check with if we actually talked to him, but I did have from back in April a follow-up email regarding this, but yeah, we'll reach out to him and figure out what's going on.
Thank you.
I think there's a little bit more to this than a simple fix, but I will look into it.
Any other?
Good evening. Great to be back. My name's Dennis Keefe, K-I-E-F. Having worked for the city of Pekin for 25 years, I appreciated all of the city administrations that I worked for, and I appreciate each of you. I know you are not in this for the money because I know what you make. I also know it is nowhere near the compensation you deserve for all the grief that you receive. You rarely get complimented for the good you do, but you certainly hear from a vocal minority when they don't like what you are doing. The city's population is declining, and the equalized assessed valuation is flat compared to some neighboring communities. So I applaud you for looking into projects that you think might benefit the city. You certainly heard more negative comments on the data center than positive ones, and I assume you have heard about the same ratio of comments on the sale of the city's wastewater system. For the reasons I stated in an email to each of you that I believe is included in your packet, I am one of those adamantly against the sale of the wastewater system to Illinois American. Hoping that you turn down the resolution to further investigate this sale, I have a suggestion to you if you really want to look at saving your residents money. If you think Illinois American would have increased the rates for wastewater, don't you believe our residents are paying too much for their water bills? In 1999, the city appointed a task force to look at the pros and cons and viability of acquiring the water company. After all, American Water Company was sold to a foreign interest. Then the citizens of Pekin voted to pursue that acquisition. I, for one, would gladly volunteer to be involved in a 2026 task force to at least look at this again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keefe. Next member of the audience.
Good evening. My name's John McNish. Just have a couple things. Driving around town, I noticed that a lot of the construction that's going on, it's good construction, making things happen, it's good. However, there are a lot of ADA violations when it comes to the construction. There's rules they have to follow. If they block a sidewalk, they have to direct people at the ADA to the other side of the sidewalk, okay? There has to be signs, okay? One thing that the city can do is whenever they bid out contracts to fix sidewalks, roads, streets, sewers, whatever, they can add an admin blurb into the contract saying that they will follow the consent decree that is required by the federal courts. Hold them accountable instead of the city being held accountable. Have the lights on the ramp been fixed yet? I don't think so. I haven't heard anything different. I have been told that that is not an ADA ramp. However, it is an ADA ramp. It goes all the way back to the building of this site. Also, if you have a bunch of handicapped individuals inside the facility and there happens to be a fire inside the facility, what happens? Your elevator is shut down. What are the handicapped going to use to get out of the building? Handicap ramp. So that's why it needs to have lights. Also, I noticed the attorney fees are still high and steadily increasing. So we need to look at a plan and discuss what we're going to do to bring those back down. Also, another thing, the North Pekin wastewater rates. I believe that those should have been renegotiated already. It may be past due, they may be getting a free ride there. And I know Mr. Kiefer had stated that we might want to look into buying the water company. No, we don't want to buy the water company. You guys have too much already. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McNish. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Seeing no other speakers, we will now move on to item 6. And we're very excited to have the fiscal year '24 audit finished. Please present it to us.
Yes, good evening, Council. I am Jen Martinson, a partner with Lauterbach and Amon, here, of course, to present the audit results for the fiscal year ended April 30th, 2024. Also very excited to be here this evening and love the excitement surrounding the audit, of course. Before we get started, I do just want to take the opportunity to thank Eric and Bob and the rest of the finance team again for all of their hard work during another audit cycle. Not only were they fantastic in preparing for the audit process, they did it rather quickly and effectively. If you remember, I was sitting here not too long ago. They worked really hard to get through this audit process, ensure that things went smoothly for us. And additionally, on top of that, we're seeing improvements in policies, procedures, and best practices within the city that we are very much looking forward to aiding in the future success of the audit process. So huge kudos to the team out here. Thank you. As council knows, an audit is required to be completed each fiscal cycle by an independent auditor, and really the goal of the audit is for us as your auditors to be able to provide an opinion on the financial statements presented this evening. We've completed our testing procedures, of course. We reviewed the internal control environment, and we do have another clean, unmodified opinion for fiscal year 2024. That really is the highest level of assurance we can provide on the financial statements presented this evening, and it really just means that they are materially correct or do accurately represent the financial position of the city. So really, most important piece of information there is we do have that clean, unmodified opinion for fiscal year 2024 again. I know it's a rather large report. There's a lot of information included throughout, and I know we are discussing fiscal year 2024 financial information, so I'm really going to focus more on some of the key areas that would encourage you to spend your time in, and we'll briefly touch on some of those financial highlights. Most importantly, as you probably remember me saying earlier this year, is the MD&A, or Management's Discussion and Analysis, which is starting on page 5 in the audit report. That really is the narrative summary of all of the financial information to follow. So it takes this 160 almost page report and really just summarizes it nicely into about 15 pages, easy to read, easy to follow through that, a little bit easier to digest than the financial statements, and that's really going to focus on the major changes for the year, any financial highlights that were deemed important throughout the process. So if you read just that section, you'll have a very comprehensive understanding of the financial statements for the year. So certainly encourage you to spend your time there. To briefly touch on the highlights, just really going to focus on your governmental fund balances, which can be found on pages 27 and 28. This really is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance here. And you will see for your governmental funds, overall fund balances did increase just over 13 million, with ending fund balances of approximately 47 million. And you can see about 30 million of that is in your general, your operating fund for the city. Additionally, I do also want to point out the budgetary comparison schedules towards the back of the report. So those are going to start on page 103, and really, again, for council to be able to review in more detail the budget in comparison to actual financial results. There's quite a bit of information there towards the back, starting on page 103. Additionally, as part of our audit process, you would have received a smaller letter that we call the management letter. And this is really just our method of communicating to management as well as council if there are any recommendations during the audit process, as well as upcoming industry standards, so specifically GASB or our Governmental Accounting Standards Board, any of those statements that are coming up, just so council is aware of kind of what to expect or where there may be changes throughout the audit report. I am happy to say in the management letter that we do not have any new recommendations other than some of the GASB standards that are coming out. And you will see that management has provided very detailed responses to each of our comments so that council can see where they're at in the progress with these. And we have a few comments here that either have been implemented or will be shortly implemented, as you'll see with the status update in future fiscal cycles. So again, as I mentioned towards the beginning, we're seeing great progress in these comments, and you'll see each of those in more detail. And then, as always, we will work very closely with the finance team on any of the upcoming GASB standards to ensure that we're addressing each of those properly as they become required to be implemented through the fiscal years. Additionally, I would be required to communicate this evening if we had any difficulties during the audit or disagreements with management, and I'm happy to say that we did not. So really, you might have guessed that as we go through the presentation with the progress we're seeing. But so most importantly, we do have that clean audit opinion. We are seeing progress and improvements. And again, the timeliness and turning this audit around effectively is well commended to the finance team. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions from council?
No.
No question, just a comment. You're the first finance director, Eric, that's hit the date when they said it's going to be done on such and such a date. Thank you for that, and it happened. So what's the 25 date? And I will give you some time, like 30 seconds to give that answer. But now, I know there's work in progress already, so.
Well, our target is for roughly late October, November period is where we're looking right now, but you are correct. We actually are starting fiscal year 25 field work this week. So we're
Excellent.
already started on the next audit.
Excellent. I won't hold you to that October date yet. But thank you for the effort.
Any other council? Management?
No, I just know the work that's gone into this, so kudos to Eric and his team. I know the long hours that have gone into this, and he's downplaying 25. I know they're a little bit further along with that, but I think we got a lot of processes in place to hopefully speed it up and keep the momentum.
Well, I do know it's always easier when you were there when the original work was created. So thank you very much for getting it caught up. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to see us. Anything else on public input? And, presentations, communications? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7. I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion that the consent agenda be approved, which includes the following items. 7.1, financial reports through May 31st, 2026. 7.2, accounts payable paid proof list through June 12th, 2026. 7.3, Pekin Police Department monthly statistics for May 2026. 7.4, ordinance number 4408-26/27, approving a fourth amendment to the agreement for purchase and sale of real property with JPG Commercial Real Estate LLC to extend the due diligence period. 7.5, ordinance number 4409-26/27, approving a map amendment for the property located at 15780 VFW Road in Pekin, Illinois, from B1 Location District to B3 General Business District. 7.6, resolution number 4041-25/26, approving and placing on file the annual financial report for fiscal year ending April 30th, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hilst and seconded by Ms. Hoheimer. Any discussion? Seeing none, council member, take your vote. Motion passes 6-0-0. Moving on to new business, I now entertain a motion for item 8.1.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that resolution number 442-26/27, authorizing and directing the city manager to negotiate an agreement for the sale of the wastewater system with Illinois American Water.
Motion made by Ms. Holmheimer. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Holmheimer, seconded by Mr. Fletcher. Council, would you care to discuss?
Yes. I would just like to say that this is an asset that the city owns. And once we sell it and get the money for it, and then the money's gone, and now the asset is gone as well, and we can never get it back. I will not be voting to purchase Illinois, or to allow them to purchase the sewer. Thank you.
Any other council? Moving on to the vote. Motion fails, 0-6-0. I would now entertain a motion for item 8.2.
Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, I move that resolution number 443-26/27, approving service agreement with Springbrook Software for renewal of the city's enterprise resource planning financial system be approved.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer, seconded by Mr. Abel. Any discussion?
Just one question. Is Springbrook the only option? And if Springbrook isn't, are they the best option?
So right now, I think my recommendation is we proceed as is for the time being, but I do want to examine new software pieces because there's better technology out there. There are things that I think are more efficient that we could take a look at. What I'd recommend is let us catch up on the audits, let's catch up on a few things which we're making good progress on. In the meantime, we could take a look and maybe demo some different software packages, see what else is out on the market, see what it can do, see what efficiencies can be gained at a reasonable price. And then once we get to that point, go out to an RFP in a couple of years, get that and see what comes back. Maybe incorporate some kind of element of some financing mechanism, 0% over a few years, and see where we go.
And I think it's important, Eric and I have had a lot of discussion on this software package. It's not just a simple, we're changing it out, it's garbage in, garbage out. So it's a lot of what we're doing now with the audits and the cleanup and the fixing of everything. I think we have to complete that task before we're ready to go out and make it'll be a major change, updating a software package of this caliber. But there are other options. Eric has brought it to my attention. We're talking about it. It's just the timing right now. We need to get step one done before we're ready to take that next step.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you're going to look at something different, potentially.
Any other council, staff? I would just like to say that I concur that software migrations, accounting software in particular, is something that you don't rush into. And I encourage you to keep looking, but get the audits all cut up first. Seeing no other discussion, shall we take our vote? Motion passes 6-0-0. I'd now entertain a motion for resolution 8.3.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that resolution number 444-26/27, authorizing emergency procurement for repairs to Fire Station Number 1 be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Nutter and seconded by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Dawsey.
Thank you. I think all the council's aware of what's been going on at the East Side Fire Station with the roof. It's just getting worse, and with all the storms that have been coming through, it's literally a waterfall in there. We're trying to mitigate having to have any other potential mold remediation or other damage to any equipment or the facilities occur. They did come out and we did follow the procurement policy. We did notify all the council. With that, we did have them come out and they did an emergency fix on it, which I believe, and Tony can answer with, especially with all the rain we had yesterday, but it seems to, at a minimum, slowed it significantly while they're getting the rest of the stuff in place, so they come out and do a total roof tear off and redo on it to hopefully fix it right once and for all.
Mr. Randleman, do you want to add anything?
Well, no, just that they have done emergency repairs, but we did get leaking over the weekend. It wasn't quite Niagara Falls. It was more like just a normal leak, but it is still leaking when we get significant rain.
Council, any discussion?
Got to be done.
Mr. Hilst.
So my first question is, have we filed an insurance claim on that? And if not, are we going to?
The adjuster was out this past week, so whether it's going to be covered or not, we don't know. I would imagine a portion of it may be, but it's going to be their call. They did have an adjuster out.
Okay, and did we get any more than one quote? First of all, for the roof, and the second part of that question, there was quotes in there from a plumbing company and an HVAC company. Are those two quotes considered subcontractors of Kryling, or did the city actually go out and get those quotes?
So the city went directly for those quotes. So this will not be an overall project run by Kryling. They'll be doing the roofing section of it, and then we're coordinating with the HVAC and plumbing companies for their sections as well.
Okay, did we get more than one quote for each of those?
He is working on the plumbing.
Plumbing, yes. The HVAC, we have not. And the roofing, we have not.
So we're just gonna go with what we got then? Just asking,
Yes.
okay? And then, so on that quote from Kryling, it just wasn't like a typical quote you would get normally when you go out for an RFP. It mainly was just explaining what they were gonna do, didn't give a whole lot of numbers in there. So what is the square footage of the roof, and is it the entire roof that's being replaced?
So I don't have the exact square footage off the top of my head. I will get that for you. And it's the entire roof of the lower section of the building. So this will not include the high bays or the garage on the backside.
Okay, there's like three separate
Roofs.
sections to that
Yeah.
roof, correct?
For
I mean, like if you look at it from an aerial view?
Yep, yes.
Okay, and we're just doing one of those three?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, if you could, not a big rush, but whenever you get a chance, if you could get me the square footage of that, I would appreciate it.
Will do.
And that's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hilst. Any other council members? Seeing no comments, we'll move on to a vote. Motion passes 6-0-0. I now entertain a motion for item 8.4.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that resolution number 445-26/27, approving agreement with Missouri Network Alliance LLC, doing business as Bluebird Fiber for internet and phone service be approved.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Nutter and seconded by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dawsey.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. If Dave Hess could come out and answer any questions that you might have on this. This was in regards to our, one of our internet services. I think I3 has been part of the issue, but we've been looking to switch over to Bluebird, and this is that proposal to do so. And he can answer any questions that you might have regarding it.
Seeing Mr. Hess is now in presence. Anyone have any questions for him?
Dave, is this totally replacing I3 now, if this goes through?
Yes, sir.
There's been a lot of problems with I3, is that correct?
Yes, sir. More than is acceptable.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Anyone else? Seeing no other comments, we will take our vote. Okay. Motion passes 6-0-0. Now entertain a motion for item 8.5.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that ordinance number 4410-26/27, approving a third amendment to the fiscal year 2027 annual budget, be approved.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Abel and seconded by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Dawsey.
Eric's available to answer any questions on this from a finance standpoint. This is in essence a budget amendment regarding the roof at 301 Broadway Street from an insurance payment, and he can discuss how that money moves around.
I'll defer to Simon on the revenue and expenditure piece. I could talk about the transfer piece if need be. But long story short is the insurance revenue that comes in as a form of reimbursement is coming into the insurance fund. That's where the revenue is recognized. Then it's getting transferred out into the general fund. So this way we're budgeting as an expenditure so that it could be spent to, in essence, perform the repairs. That's the nutshell. Simon, is there anything else you want to add specific to the revenue or the expense?
Just that it's, as Eric kind of surmised, moving the money from the insurance payout to the appropriate GL within public works or public property in order to do the roof repair. I'll quickly add, we are in the process of getting 3 quotes for that roof repair. The first we have in looks like it's below the insurance amount, so as long as everything is consistent, shouldn't have any issues there. Pending any questions.
Thank you, gentlemen. Council?
What building is that?
It's the funeral home right across the street.
That's 301?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So is there any internal damage?
There was some internal damage from the leakage, so this total payment does include what the adjuster provided for the ceiling. Some of it had come down. We're initially looking at doing the roof repair first and then holding those funds till we kind of get a better idea. It's not occupied, not currently being used for the internal repairs that we need to do.
So we have a temporary repair on the roof, I'm
Correct.
assuming.
Yes, it was on the northwest side that flashing had come up, and that is where the majority of the water incursion occurred. Public property personnel were able to bring that back down as a temporary fix, so we haven't had a recurring issue, and then some additional damage had occurred on the lining for the flat roof portion of that roof. But they're not serious in nature. We are no longer getting active leaking in the structure as it rains, but this is cleaning everything up and making sure the roof is viable for the long term.
So not an emergency.
Correct, not an emergency.
Any other council? Seeing none, let's take our vote. Item passes 6-0-0. Moving on, I'll entertain a motion for 8.6.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, ordinance number 4411, -26-27, approving a non-exclusive access easement with the Sandrock Storage LLC for use of the lane between Sheridan Road and Wingfoot be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel, seconded by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you. This is just an agreement that we had discussed back when Jack Steger obtained some of that land to build his house. This is just the easement to allow use of that private lane.
Council?
Good.
Take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0-0. I now entertain a motion for item 8.7.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4412-26/27, amending Pekin City Code repealing and replacing Division 1 through 2 of Chapters 5, Article 8, to adopt regulations for development in the floodplain areas be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and seconded by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Dossi.
So I'm just going to file my grievance. Everybody decided to leave tonight, so this is probably one of the more complicated ones that Nick McQuett left me with. This is one that we've been working on, that we are mandated to update our ordinance to match what FEMA has put in place in regards to the floodplains. In essence, that's what this change does. It brings us in alignment with what the federal government's requirements are for the floodplains. That's to keep it simple.
Thank you, sir. That's all the detail I wanted. Any questions from council? Seeing none, council, take your vote. Motion passes 6-0-0. I would now entertain a motion for item 8.8.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that ordinance number 4413-26/27, approving and authorizing the execution of a tax increment financing redevelopment agreement with the Rushad family for a new home project at 3716 Grandview Drive be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer, seconded by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you. I think Josh wrote this one up well. This family is seeking incentives under the residential development TIF policy for their new home being built at 3716 Grandview Court. The project has an estimated value of $699,000 under the existing policy. The total incentive given from the TIF fund will be up to $70,000 in property tax increment rebates over a period not to exceed 10 years. The actual incentive given will be based on the eligible expenses incurred and the new property assessment after project completion.
Thank you, sir. Council? Seeing no other comments or questions, council, take your vote. Motion passes 5-1-0. So congratulations, everyone. We've finished with the regular business portion, and we are now at any other business before the council. Mr. Dossi, would you like to start?
I have nothing. I'm sorry. I have nothing, but I'll get it right. I have nothing personally. I think Chief Rainey had something and Simon had something.
Good evening. Just had a couple of announcements for the public. On this Saturday, we are having a Special Olympics charity softball game. It will be between the police department and the fire department. It'll be Saturday at 6 p.m. at Diamond One in Mineral Springs, so that it's free to the public. It's just a charity event where we'll take in donations that will all go to Special Olympics. And the second one is between now and our next meeting, our second Cops for Kids outing will be bowling, and that will be on Thursday, July 2nd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Striketown Bowl. And that is also free to anyone that attends. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add, we're going to be softball. That way we keep our distance from each other. We've tried contact sports between the police and fire department, and it doesn't work well. I do want to jump in too and give a shout out to all of our guys. On June 11th, with the storms that came through, we responded to about 45 calls during that evening. We had a structure fire just prior to the storms coming through, and then power lines down and trees down, and you name it, all through the night. And crews did a really good job. I think we kept things moving as well as we could in the city during that time. And so it's times like that that it's important that everyone knows that that's why we're here, for nights like that.
We appreciate the work you all do. Anyone else?
Just one quick public announcement as well. So tomorrow evening, Tuesday, June 23rd, from 5 to 7 p.m., we'll be holding a public involvement meeting, reference the Broadway Street rehabilitation. So this is Terra Engineering's running it in conjunction with the city. It'll be open for anyone to come in. They'll have the plans kind of laid out and can answer any questions. We'll also be receiving any input that the public can have, and then that'll all go into as we finish up the engineering process for Broadway.
Would you state the time and the place again, please?
Sure, it's from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Pekin Public Library.
Nothing else from staff? Council?
Just a shout out to Simon. The Green Arrows were back at Fifth and Margaret. A lot of people took notice of that. We're very happy to see it. So no accidents occurred that I know of because of they're missing. So thank you very much.
I just wanted to say thank you to the code enforcement guys. They're doing a bang-up job, and keep your heads high. Thank you.
Mr. Nutter?
Well, thank you. In conjunction with the softball game, on Friday and Saturday, there is a balloon fest at the Avani Center out on Griffin Avenue, and they are in dire need of people to volunteer to help tether the balloons. So if you witnessed it last year, there was some rather stout individuals trying to hold these balloons down, and they were all over the place. So if you could volunteer to help with that, it is on signupgenius.com, and it goes from 5:30 to 9:30 on Friday and 5:30 to 9:30 on Saturday. So anybody that'd like to volunteer for that, that would be great. And Simon, this is for you. I've been asked this question 1,000 times, and all my answer is they're working on it. The new recycle bin delivery, where do we stand?
I'll get a percentage for you. We are still working through the process. The amount we're, able to get delivered on a day kind of depends on staffing levels and what the routes look like, because it's, done either with Doug or some of the other drivers. So the process is still going on. I will get a percentage for you on our completion.
And then finally, kudos to the street department, and this question has come up too. When do we think the cleanup, the brush and the trees, how is that progressing? What can we expect? And hopefully no more major storms for a while, but people want to know when their stuff's going to be picked up.
So we're still going on with that. We anticipate fully going through this week as well, potentially into next week. I'll check the map on the area coverage. We have been getting some individuals now kind of writing in, hey, I still have this stuff out, which helps us to make sure we're not missing anything. But probably another week and a half left on this one.
So just theoretically, in a week and a half, if you still got stuff out there, we probably need to send a note to
Right,
TextMyGov
yeah.
or whatever the number is.
Text my gov works or call down, and then if it, if it happens at that point, it's just smaller things.
Sure.
If they're able to cut it and bundle it and just with normal yard waste pickup, but the larger, with the equipment, we'll get out there to pick it up.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Hilst?
Nothing right now, thanks.
Well, everyone, I think this might be a record. I want to congratulate everyone for getting through the meeting. Thank all of you for your time in coming, especially the people who are here on their personal time. I would also like to acknowledge the people who came to the presentation from Illinois American Water and stuck around and talked about the options with us. I think the public involvement and feedback on that was very helpful and important. So I hope that everyone has a fabulous, beautiful weekend. And till the next 2 weeks, stay safe. Be careful out there. All right, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer, seconded by Mr. Abel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Vote yes. Meeting adjourned at 6:17 PM.
It's a record.